Okay, so let me just say, this story is a hypothetical one, but it breaks down a media phenomenon that is all too real. It kicks off with a political commentator being assassinated, and at first the motive seems super obvious, right? But then, the evidence drops, and the whole thing just goes completely off the rails into a world of memes, trolls, and just utter chaos. And I'm not kidding. The way this whole thing unfolded was a masterclass in confusion and total whiplash. You're going to want to hold on for this one.
All right, you see the slide, you know what to do. Now let's dive right in.
So, it all starts with this really tragic event that seems to have a very clear, very politically charged motive. At least, that's what everybody thought at first.
The founder of Turning Point USA was shot and killed during his American comeback tour. And immediately, the hunt for someone to blame was on.
So citing an early report, commentators like Megyn Kelly just jumped on it. They confidently declared that trans ideology was the cause, and they promised to go on the attack. The story was set, or so it seemed.
And this right here is where that nice, tidy story completely falls apart. Because the evidence that popped up had absolutely nothing to do with politics, and everything to do with pure, unfiltered internet brain rot. So, investigators find the assassin's bullets, and the messages written on them? Yeah, they weren't some big political manifesto. Nope, they were just a chaotic stream of memes.
First up, you've got this phrase. Now this is a direct reference to online furry culture, which is a fandom all about anthropomorphic animals. Super bizarre, but okay. What else did they find? Next, we've got this classic, pretty lowbrow internet troll comment. So we're moving from a really specific subculture reference to just schoolyard-level trolling. The plot isn't just thickening, it's getting weirder.
And then there's this. This is a line straight out of the video game Helldivers 2, and it even has the little arrow key combo you'd use to call in an airstrike. So now we've got a gamer reference in the mix.
And to top it all off, we have lyrics from Bella Ciao, an Italian anti-fascist anthem. So, to recap, we've got furries, trolls, gamers, and Italian partisans, all on the same bullets.
So what on earth does any of this mean? Furries, trolling, video games, anti-fascist anthems. This wasn't some clear political motive. This was just an internet chaos salad. All right, let's just try to make some sense of this bizarre cocktail of influences, because the details only make that first story look even crazier.
So this directly contradicts that initial narrative. Megyn Kelly called furry culture a bizarre offshoot of the weird trans thing, but that's just not what it is. It's a fandom, and it's not inherently sexual or specific to any one community.
Okay, so what about the shooter himself? Did he fit the profile they were pushing? Not even close. Tyler Robinson was politically unaffiliated, had registered Republican parents, came from a Christian family. This simple story just was not adding up.
So with all this new, baffling evidence and a shooter profile that fit nobody's expectations, the confident finger-pointing from those first 24 hours just started to completely fall apart.
And you can see just how fast this all went down. Thursday evening, you get the confident accusation. By Friday morning, the weird evidence comes out. By that afternoon, the media is already issuing corrections, and by Friday night, the entire narrative has to pivot. It was a complete meltdown.
Get this, the original source of the trans ideology claim, the Wall Street Journal, had to add an editor's note. They basically had to retract their initial angle because law enforcement was casting doubt on it.
And here is the payoff. Megyn Kelly, who just one day before had vowed to be relentless, was now completely stumped. She went from absolute certainty to total confusion in less than 24 hours.
But, in today's media landscape, you can't just have no one to blame. That's not how it works. If it wasn't trans ideology, then it had to be someone else's fault, right? The search for a new target began immediately.
So even while admitting, I don't know what this guy was into, she still insisted that the blame had to lie somewhere on the other side of the political aisle.
You guessed it, the new culprit was the left. Her argument was that the fascist reference on the bullet was clearly a response to leftists calling Trump a fascist, and therefore, it was their fault. It was a complete 180.
And that's really the whole story here. A tragic event was instantly shoved through a political lens, which then completely shattered when it hit the bizarre reality of internet culture, only to be hastily glued back together to point at a different political enemy.
So what was the wildest part of this whole saga for you?
The furry meme? The video game combo? Or that whiplash-inducing pivot at the end? Let us know down in the comments. And if you want more explainers that break down all this chaos, make sure to like and subscribe.